Thank you so much for coming, and I know especially on a Saturday afternoon, people are starting to get a little bit tired, and I would love to, let people know what teachers really do on the weekends, right? So thank you so much for being dedicated, and also just to let you know, heads up, we're gonna have you creating and being creative and using your higher order thinking skills during the afternoon, so that's a true test.
So I saw a bunch of people on the right URL, eduawesome.com/edventure. You see what I did there? Right.
So lots of resources here, and in case you forget something we tell you today, you can always go back and refer to this later, because it might happen.
Yeah. So hi, my name is Bill Selak. Any Bitmoji fans out there?
Yeah.
Right? Yes. So I'm Director of Technology at Hillbrook School, up in Los Gatos near San Jose in the Bay Area. So north. That's not north though, is it? That way. Is it? All right, anyway, north.
Anybody else from up NorCal area? Yay, all right. Came all the way down.
Fantastic. And
I'm Nicole Dalesio, and I am a K-8 technology teacher, TOSA, which stands for Teacher on Special Assignment. If you haven't heard that, I like to think of it sort of like a secret agent going around and doing tech integration into teachers' classrooms. So I go into classrooms from kindergarten through 8th grade, and I'm all over the place, and I love it, and it's so much fun. And so I'm in San Jose in Union School District. Any Union School District people here? Anybody else from San Jose? Yeah, and I'm right next to Los Gatos. So Bill and I happen to work kind of down the road from each other, so it's been pretty awesome. First of all, how many people here are classroom teachers? Oh, a lot of you. How many people are at something else? Okay, awesome. And how many are like K2, K through 2nd grade? Any 3rd through 5th grade? All right. Any middle school? High school? Okay. Any 4th grade teachers? Yay. Okay. So I was a 4th grade teacher for years and years and years. And even you're going to see in our example, we're going to do like a California themed thing as well.
so to introduce you to the idea of interactivity, we want to do forums. Has anyone played the Chad, Matt, and Rob videos? Is this new to everybody? So this is sort of like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure meets The Matrix.
Where is Rob?
I'm not here. Leave me a message.
Hey, Rob, if you're not here in 5 minutes, we're all getting fired.
Oh my God! You guys, you have to see this. You have to.
Where have you been?
I was here, and then I was somewhere else, and then I'm back.
Go to the bathroom, clean up.
So, whoosh, and then I wasn't here anymore.
Right, so he was traveling through time. We're going to skip to the end. We don't need to watch this whole thing. Here we go, 2 minutes in.
The garbage can!
These guys are trying to kill us because we have their time machines. Now get it.
So by the way, this is YouTube annotations. If you search my website, I have a great session on interactive YouTube videos. So the idea is that if you click on this...
It's the same concept, but your buttons on the YouTube video.
Right, but it's a lot more work. We're going to do the part that's less work. Right? So see when I mouse over it...
There's a lot of cheers for less work.
Right? So should we get in?
Teachers have to make it easy, right?
All right, most people want to get in. So I'm going to click on that. And that YouTube annotation is going to link to a different video.
I'm not getting in the garbage can! Please get in.
Right, they end up back in time. There's dinosaurs. There's that dude. And then it goes on and on and on. Right, so if you want to play that game, feel free to do that. You have the link for the slides for those of you joining us late, eduawesome.com/edventure.
Write that down now.
So the whole point of an interactive story with whatever medium you choose that's digital is that you want to be able to tell some sort of story, and you want to create some problem that your students need to kind of click through, or some sort of adventure that you're going to take them along. So a couple like really simple ones, if we're thinking kind of SAMR model, a substitution of, oh yeah, I could totally wrap my brain around this, right? So,
and can I jump in here? So speaking of the SAMR model, I think too, we really kind of want to think creatively, and we're trying to push creativity as well with the students. Instead of just trying to substitute something that you used to do on paper for something you do digitally, we like to try to think of it as try to do something that you couldn't have done before you had the technology.
right? So this is not that, but this will hopefully shift your brain of like, oh, totally get that. So here's the whatever, right? Here's 4 multiple choice questions in a Google form. And then you as the teacher in real time or not could be like, cool, good job. Or like, yeah, not so much, right? Same sort of idea, really bad pun. I apologize, but not really, right? So what is that? Watch this video. You can put videos in forms. Right?
Ooh, this is the part where you go,
that's what I was hoping for. What is that? Oh, cool. And then it can link to a different video or a different video where like, actually, that's wrong. And here's a video explaining it. Or here's just text explaining it. I would be remiss if I did not share the Lose Your Own Adventure series. Does anyone else know this besides me? Right? These are the best. So hopefully in your head you're like, oh, choose your own adventure. No, no, no. Lose your own adventure. No matter what you do, JFK dies in the book.
it's inevitable.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So nuts and bolts. First thing you need to do is come up with some sort of flowchart. We're going to give you several examples. Nicole has really cool ideas around that. And then the idea of it, instead of just being a worksheet, is that your readers get to choose where they go. Simple enough? Cool, I'm seeing heads nod. I know at some point, if you guys just walked in the back, they're going to yell at you and kick you out. There's room in the front. It's Saturday, so I showered. And then you, as the teacher, or I think more powerfully, your students, actually write out whatever the story is going to be.
And so, too, I think also just for planning and to teach kids that writing is a process, it's always good to do a storyboard. So if you get to the slide, down here on the bottom, I've put a hyperlink to where you click on it. What it does is it forces a copy for a template for a storyboard that we made. So just in case you don't know, I don't know if anybody knows this trick, but normally when you do a Google document or you do a Google slide presentation or you do a Google drawing or anything in Google, it usually ends in, and can you zoom in on the URL up there for a second? It usually ends in edit and maybe a couple little gibberish symbols or letters down there. If you ever substitute the word edit for the word copy, what it does is forces a copy of it. So if you want your students to each have a copy of something, of a template, such as this storyboard, then it will force a copy for each student. And you can also do the same thing in Google Classroom if you're using Google Classroom. But it's kind of nice. So it says make a copy. So Bill, can you click on make a copy?
So by the way, let me back up for just a moment. If you go to the big blue button and click share, which I would argue is the most powerful button on the internet, because anyone on the planet can
on the
see.
internets, right?
My mom would say internets.
But just a little hint for Bill, or in my own workflow when I'm doing Google Docs, I always share it with anyone with a link, usually, as soon as I create it, before I even put a title on it, before I even start working, because sometimes it happens that you forget to share it. So that's just a little helpful hint of advice.
So you should be good to go now.
Okay, so back to our copy. Hopefully you can get to it now. Yay! Okay.
Yay.
Awesome. Okay, so...
The copy's what? Yes, it's filled in. So then you can clear it off and do that.
Yes. So that's okay that it's filled in because we want you to kind of see. But when you get your own copy, then you can go ahead and edit your own copy. So you just change it. So...
We tried actually sharing it with you guys without it filled in, and it didn't make nearly as much sense. Oh, your long, it's force touch. So I think we have it right there.
And
so it
so
should look like that.
So anyway,
right?
it has a little structure over here too. So the sample that we're going to show you has to do with going on a vacation to California and choose your own adventure to California. And so for fourth grade teachers, for example, you know that you're studying social studies, and hopefully you're still studying social studies, with the 4 regions in geography and learning about our state, which I felt was appropriate for a conference in California. So on my little storyboard, I planned it out, my California trip. I put the 4 regions of California, and then I put something like, if you want to go to the coast, you can either go to NorCal, yay, NorCal, or you could go to SoCal.
Yay, SoCal.
Yeah, SoCal. And if you then go branching off to NorCal, if I just did a couple of examples. There's so many wonderful places on the coast to visit in NorCal, but I didn't have room for all of them, or at least for this example, so we decided to keep it simple. Going to either Santa Cruz or Fort Ross. And then down in SoCal, we decided it would be cool to either go to San Diego or Huntington Beach. And I know there are a lot of other wonderful options. And then in Central Valley, which isn't such a, it's also, who's from the Central Valley here? Yay! So we just thought of a few places that you could go in Central Valley, and we didn't know, because there's not as many different little places. We just, no offense or anything to Central Valley. I love the Central Valley. So we just did a few ones. Well, that one is going to stop there. And then the mountains, we did Sierra Nevadas or Big Bear, because we want to do something SoCal too. So we decided that's part of the mountains. And then Lake Tahoe or Yosemite. And then the desert, of course, there's lots of great places in the desert, such as Palm Springs or Joshua Tree or Salton Sea.
Anybody been to Palm Springs before?
Yeah. Okay.
That's going to be less funny for people watching the video.
Right, that's right. I know, not quite the same. So you kind of had to be there, right?
Not at Q.
And then we've also labeled each of our sections. So when we build our Google form, we have our little sections that it links to, and you're going to see how we did this in just a minute. So if you have your own copy, you can delete text boxes. You can go ahead and, make fewer boxes if you want. And you can, push them around or change them around, because you may want to keep it even simpler. You may have some sort of California adventure, or not even California, some kind of adventure that only has 2 choices, okay? So you can simplify it or you can make it more complex, whatever works for you. But this is our little structure. So that's what we made.
If you don't like that template, if that's too confusing for you, there's also apps. This particular one is called Simple Mind. So the whole idea, whether it's with pencil and paper or this kind of a reverse tournament bracket or the Google slide we shared with you or an app, the idea is to actually build it out and plan ahead of time if you're doing it, and especially if your students are doing it. So we actually tried just kind of building out the form before we created all those different sections, and it was super confusing. But once we knew which sections were titled what on our little thing that you have a copy of, it was so much easier to figure out, okay, this goes here, this goes there, add a picture of this, add a picture of that, add the questions, and then here are your 2 choices from this section, here's your 2 choices from that section. Once you actually have it planned out, so much easier.
And by the way, while we're going through this, you're going to be thinking of how you can build an interactive adventure Google form for whatever subject area or grade level that you're teaching. So how do you apply it in your own classroom? So the obvious answer is that you can do this with writing a story, like choose your own adventure, writing the story. But then I did a twist on it, doing it more like a social studies and geography one. And then we were thinking of other different subject areas too. So even if it's math, how could you be really creative and build one of these for math or for science or for any other of the subject areas, reading, or, we talked about different books and genres and building one like that. So start thinking about that.
And for admins, professional learning, instead of just be silent while I talk for an hour and a half, or be silent while someone else talks at you for an hour and a half, have your teachers go through and actually go through their own PD that's tailored for them. And instead of just saying, there's so many choices, I have 30 teachers and 30 different things they need to learn. Well, you can have 30 different results in your choose your own Edventure
right.
form.
And right now, it's like the teacher is creating it, and this is the way you would model it to your students. But the idea is that the students will be creating their own Google Forms, which is that creativity and higher order thinking piece that you really want to get them to be doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is what the simplified version of that decision tree map, the planning part of it, the flow chart, whatever you want to call it. And then when we started to really build it out, it ended up looking like that, where we added more choices of more choices, and then the S is for section number. Inside of Google Forms, you can add a new section, and the magic of it, ready to jump into it, is that with a multiple choice question, you can go to section based on answer, right?
Mm-hmm. So here's the Google form that we kind of built out, and we're still tweaking with it and looking at it. But if you notice at the top, I have a picture. So now with Google Forms, you can add your own images at the top, and then it came up with a color for the background that matches what my picture is, and Google Forms did that for me automatically. So it's pretty cool.
Automagically. Ah. Right, so I wrote some text. And then you can either, as a student or as you as humans, can click on this, or you can watch a video that Diane made about California regions.
Anybody here know Diane Main? So she has this cool parody of a song that she did about California regions when she was teaching the 4th graders at her school.
The desert's kind of brown. Central Valley's green. Central Valley's green.
Oh, I'm going to stop right there. I want to go to the coast. I'm so excited.
He wants to go to the coast.
I do.
Yeah. How many
So let's
people
click
want to
on
go to
that.
the coast?
And we'll go next. When I click on that, are you ready? That was an actual question. Are you ready? All right.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
We've lost them, Nicole. It's a new section. So in the new forms, it's called sections if you've done this before. And a little bit of info. So this is the title of the section. And then here's the description of it. I didn't bother to actually do research. So like this might not be true at all. Nicole added.
So he's getting his informative writing, Common Core Standards writing in there at the same time. He did some research and did some reading, so he did his nonfiction reading at the same time, and we're also studying geography. So whenever you can integrate the curriculum and kill a bunch of stones, wait, how do I say that expression?
Kill a couple standards with one stone.
Yeah, that's it. You got it. So, and then we're doing the creativity piece and we're doing the technology piece. So we think it's a pretty cool little activity.
And one thing that may or may not be obvious, but actually just occurred to me, so hopefully it's not obvious. I was working on titling the sections and adding the text at the same time as with anything in Google Drive. Nicole was doing something different, collaborating on the same thing. So inside of Google Forms, she was adding images from her Google Photos. I was typing in text, and in real time, she's seeing my text as she's finding images, and she said something like, "Oh, you're doing something that's like looking at the coast. So let me type into Google Photos, coast looking something."
Right, yeah.
And that image came up.
Yes, and by the way, how many people are Google Photos fans? Yes, okay, that's my favorite Google app of all time. And it was so easy for me to pull up photos of each of these places. I just searched within my own Google Photos album, and all of these are my own pictures except for Bakersfield and Fresno. So they were all my own photos that I could just search up.
Yeah, we'll show that in just a moment. So next, let's head to SoCal.
So we're going to go to... Oh, no, but what about NorCal? NorCal is better.
I know what's coming up, though. Palm trees. When was the last time you saw palm trees?
Like 2 minutes ago before I came in.
Okay. All right, so let's go back and change our mind then. Let's go to NorCal.
Yeah, NorCal. Yeah.
So there's an image.
I have more pictures from NorCal, too.
And you can see that there's no longer multiple choice questions. Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
We'll have to add those
We'll have
right
to
now
edit it
in
right
a live
now.
demo. It's almost like we planned it. So this is the form. I know that because it says view form. So that's what you would view as you guys, or what your students would view, or if a student created it, what their audience would view. So I'm going to close that, and now I'm going to edit it. I know that because it says edit, right? Nope, that's the wrong one. That one. So here's the form. So you can see section 1 is the intro. Let's leave the page. And that's what I want. So I'm going to have this on one tab and then this on the other. So let's wrap our brains around this for just a moment. As soon as this makes sense, this is amazing, right? So here's section 1, California trip, right? Section 1, California trip. Section 2, coast. So this was so confusing until we actually added section 1, section 2, section 3, section 4. Then inside the form, it's just a matter of this thing that looks like the equal sign. That's add new section. So I just clicked that, what, 21 times maybe? Yes, I clicked that 21 times, so we'd have 21 sections. And the first step I did...
And you might want to make it a little simpler on your first one.
I would recommend making it simpler. Right, so if we scroll down all the way to the end, you can see there's 21 sections. Right there, now there are 22 sections. Make sense so far? Any questions on that? Did I lose anyone? So, where did we get stuck? It was with SoCal, wasn't it? Northern and Northern. We went back and they were both kind of eh. So I'm going to scroll through. Oh, that's taking too long. Where is NorCal? Oh, section 6 and 7. So let's go back to 6 and 7. And I actually want to add an image for Huntington Beach, so we're going to just work on SoCal. There's the desert, NorCal, and SoCal. So we could type something in and say, right, you'll see what that looks like. You don't need to watch me type. And I'm going to go to plus. And by default, it's going to give you multiple choice, which is totally what we want. Here's the magic. See these 3 dots? Anytime you see those in anything Google, click on those. Because there's something
something good underneath it.
Something rad. So I'm going to click on it and go to section based on answer. Do you see that? I was hoping for more of like an ah. You're just faking it, but that's okay. So I'm going to click on that. So 3 dots, go to section based on answer. Anyone need to take a quick photo? Are you good? You got it? Okay. We're going to wait. You don't need to apologize. I asked. You're going to lose that. That app is called Mouse Pose. $10 in the App Store, Mac operating system, and you push F1 and you get this. The first time I saw this, Mark Hammonds was talking about music something at ISTE, and I heard nothing he said. I was just like, what app is that? The answer is Mouse Pose.
And now you use it all the time.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So let's see, here we were. So that 3 dot section based on answer. Good? Got your photo? Fantastic. So that's what we want. I'll click on that, and now with our choices, oh no, Nicole, I forgot where we go in SoCal. All right, so I'm going to
look at our storyboard. Good thing we planned.
Oh, it's like we planned saying that. San Diego and Huntington Beach. Let me type those in. Remember when I did new section and named each section? Without even looking at our fancy storyboard thing, I can just go to section 19, and the new forms even tells me it's called San Diego, dude.
That's
Huntington
making
Beach.
me like the new Google Forms a little bit better.
Yeah, it's way more multimedia, way more interactive.
Because at first I didn't really like it, but now there are some nice little features.
Right. And so now let's go to, it even reminds me, section 20 is Huntington Beach. So let's scroll down to section 20. Yes, before I did any questions, I did click for section, named each section, and I knew the names of my sections because I did this. This was so helpful. I didn't realize how helpful it would be. I didn't realize Nicole wanted to go like this deep into the choose your own Edventure, interactivity. So this was like so useful. Plus it forces students to really think logically, sequentially, which are all these math skills we want them to have. And this forces
Oh,
that.
we're even doing math at the same time.
I
That's
know, right? All right, so let's go down to Huntington Beach.
Which has a missing picture because Bill's the one that's from SoCal, so he has more SoCal pictures.
So I can add a description and say something. You don't need to watch me type, so I'm going to just
And
type
he would
whatever.
write some really awesome description of Huntington Beach, right?
Yes. And we will add image. And then it goes by default to your albums. So if you take a photo with a smartphone, and if you use Google Photos, which Nicole says is
my favorite Google app of all time.
Here's one of the reasons why.
And we actually have resources from our session on Thursday when we did the Fall in Love with Photography one as well that has more information about Google Photos.
So all I did is take a picture in the city of Huntington Beach. I'm going to search my albums, and the app Google Photos backs up all of my photos on my phone. This is what a phone looks like. Backs all of them up from my phone to Google Photos, which is totally married to Google Drive, and Google Forms can see your albums.
And that's one thing that we really like about Google is that all of the Google apps play friendly with each other.
Right.
So if you can really maximize what you can do within the Google apps, that's what we're doing.
And these are totally private to me. It's also nice that if my daughter throws this in the sink or the toilet, then I still have my photos backed up in iCloud and in Google Photos.
But Google knows, so when you go search your own photos, it knows where the picture was taken, so he can go ahead and search them up by location. He can search up by keyword. You know, like I searched up my photos coast, and it figured out ones that if I searched by mountains, it showed me pictures I had of the mountains, or you can even do it by faces.
And here we are. So here are 3 pictures I took in Huntington Beach. Let's add this one. Select. It's not what you imagined, does it? It's a selfie. This was, someone gave me that hat. I don't know why. It was an 80s themed professional development day with Chris Long. Anyone know Chris Long? Oh my gosh, find Chris Long, follow Chris Long. So now I'm going to say, instead of this.
So if you go to Huntington Beach, I guess that means you have to go visit Chris Long.
Dude.
So this is truly an adventure.
You found whatever. Chris Long. He does an district and stuff and whatever, okay? So I took a turn because my photo, I actually don't have any geotagged pictures of Huntington Beach, but I did take this picture.
And also they have a little space for the image title. You know, going back to the digital citizenship theme, if you aren't using your own images, you can also just do a regular Google search for copyright-friendly images, but that might be a good place to give credit to the original artist. So I do like to point that out. My theory is the best way to avoid copyright problems is to just make your own media, and the same for the students, have them make their own media. But in case you don't have it, you can always do that.
So did you catch that? Pretty rad, yes? And if we look here, Huntington Beach, that's actually the end of it. So that's not going to go anywhere.
And I think all the Lake Tahoe and Yosemite is too.
Yes.
So Bill, could they fill out the Google form now?
They can. Let's preview it together and
Yes.
click through that now.
Yes,
That little
preview it
eyeball.
first, yeah. The other trick with Google Forms is before you give out the link and have people start filling it out, you kind of want to finish it first. How many people have learned the hard way on that one? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to force the choices to get to what we just worked on. Let's go to the coast. Let's go to SoCal. Let's go to Huntington Beach.
And ideally, you would like to do a lot more writing than our sample.
Right, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
And then next, and we should actually have ended it right there because it's just going to do that, and we can submit at the end. So if you want the analytics of it, and we're going to show that in just a second, it needs to end with the same section, and it might just be...
Thank you for traveling in California.
yeah, submit.
Okay.
That was a crazy ending, right? Submit.
Right.
And the cool thing you get with that is if I go to responses at the top, you as the writer get to see analytics. And it does this on the fly.
Oh, we're doing some more math. We're doing graphs.
Right? Nobody chose the desert because we're already here. Yeah, so go ahead and fill that out now. Yeah.
So go ahead and fill it out now, and then our analytics will get a little bit more interesting. The section numbers that are on the storyboard, those were text boxes that we just filled them in with a color, and we just added them. And so on your copy, you can go ahead and tweak them. And if you don't like that color, you can change the color too.
I think that's what he's saying.
I've also seen Google Draw or Google Slides used with these text boxes for magnetic poetry.
That's cool.
Yeah, super cool.
All right. Ooh, 42
Are more
responses.
people filling out our form?
Yeah.
But it's a little bit skewed for our results because we had some answer that led to the wrong region.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway, we like the idea of having these cool little graphs and the summary of responses that pop up. Yes, question in the back. So where it comes to the point where it says submit another response? Yeah, but I have to click that to get back to the beginning, or can you link it back to section 1? Can we link it back to
You could do it
1?
before you submit. You could just not submit and loop it back to section 1 if you could. And just build a multiple choice question in. Right, right. Cool. Should we also look at the spreadsheet? It's going to create a new spreadsheet for us. Thank you, Google Forms. And here's a new spreadsheet with all of our analytics. I heard of one person that was doing this, and their students didn't know which way to go in creative writing. And so they're like, just paste it into a Google form, give the choices, and then you get the analytics of it. And whichever one was more popular, that's where the story actually went.
And by the way, we've done this with pictures, putting pictures in it, but you could also have it linked to other things like a YouTube video or something else. So if you want them to get more information, just a picture of the place.
So let's see where most people chose coast.
Surprise, surprise.
And if we look at the coast, most people chose SoCal.
Aww. Do you think it has anything to do with the fact that more people are from SoCal here?
Well, we're also in SoCal. And the weather's nicer.
Yeah, except for when you go on a vacation, you want to go to the place where you don't live, right?
I suppose. Option 1. Everybody chose option 1. We didn't finish the desert.
That was because of our mistake, right? Yeah.
Right, right. Yeah, so you can see that we didn't build out questions for this, but we had all the sections completely filled out.
Well, that brings
next.
up an interesting discussion about data that's skewed and how it could go wrong, too, right?
Right. You could actually do this on purpose, maybe with high school students, and then talk about that. That'd be really interesting.
Okay, so what we would like you to do is try, and you can just buddy up with somebody and just make one per your group. And we would like you to try making your own interactive Google form. And on this last slide, there's a hyperlink to another Google form, so meta, right?
Forms within forms.
Yeah, we were just going to stick with the form theme. So you can click on that form, and it asks you for the link for your own form, and then you can put your group names, your group members' names, and maybe what you guys teach. And then there's the link to your form. So we want you to fill out that form with a link to your form. This is how I used to collect assignments before Google Classroom. So that's what we'll try. And I would say just keep it simple. So go ahead and work and either do it by yourself or find somebody to work with you. Yeah. Okay, so just if you're new to Google Forms, we'll just show you like how to get started from scratch. And you're going to go to your Google Drive, and if you don't know where your Google Drive is, you can Google it. I know, I did that. I still do that sometimes. Okay, so you go to Google Drive. Here's Bill's Google Drive, and he's going to go to New, and he'll go down to More and choose the Google Forms form. And he's using his lovely little, what's that called? The spotlight? What's that called?
Mouse pose.
Mouse pose trick. He's going to select a Google form. And right now it's untitled. Okay, that's the other thing that's really annoying is untitled documents, right? So he's going to go ahead and name it and just say whatever. His wife is in the audience too, right? Yay. Okay. And then you're going to This is a sample form, if it says, if you can't read it from here. And stuff. Oh, ooh, that's on the no can't use words list, right? If we're talking about how to improve your writing with doing this.
Yes.
Okay. And then he creates the question, what color do you like? And you know what? Give yourself permission to start off with something really simple and easy so that you can learn the logistics of how it works. Red, blue, red, and banana. Okay. And then we got to show them how to go to section based on answer. So you would have to, ideally you're going to storyboard this first, right? And then you would know which section you're going to have to go to.
Hey, Nicole.
Yes, Bill.
I don't have any other sections. Ooh, at the bottom. Totally lied. You can submit form. Someone asked that question. We had too many sections. They added that in the last month. This is the first time I'm seeing that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, submit
Don't you
form.
love that when Google changed things on you?
If you click on that, it might have even happened actually during this session. I had a friend that did that once. They were demoing something, and halfway through the session, it switched to the new.
That's happened to me before.
Google does this all the time. So let's just pretend that happened. So if you click on, someone asks, do you have to end on the same one? The answer is no. If you click blue, it will submit the form. That's cool.
So that answers the question that somebody asked earlier?
Yeah.
Okay.
So let me get new sections, add section, add section.
So that little kind of like an equal sign button is the one that's going to help you to go to that.
And then I highly recommend naming sections.
And this is where you could go ahead and add in the titles for each of your sections. So if you did your storyboard, you have them all numbered out. You can go ahead and do this part next. Create all of the sections first. And then you can go back and start doing the little multiple choice questions. And I'm not a big fan of multiple choice, but if you're going to do multiple choice, you should at least be creative about it. So, is this helping for people who are new in Google Forms?
Here's the new thing I just learned. Go to section based on answer, and no matter what you do,
so after you've created all your sections,
is the new answer. So at the end, so now we're on section number 2, blue. At the end of section 2, they'll submit the form. So it just ends. So I want blue. So let's actually just preview it, right? Top right corner preview. What color do you like? So the only section I have done so far is blue. Next, it moves to section 2. Let's go back to blue. I told it to end at blue? Okay, that would explain. And then next, and then submit.
Because you told it to end at blue.
Because I told it to end, right. Yeah. Oh, got it. Yeah. On this one? Oh, that's why. So blue should actually not submit form. It should go to section blue. That was the step I just missed. Thanks, Barbara.
So yeah, it really does make you think about it. Yes, you have a question? Somebody have a question? Or she was waving across. Hi, so she's over there waving to you.
Someone asked about adding collaborators. There's 2 ways of doing that. These 3 dots in the corner. Add collaborators.
Ooh.
So within the form, right?
So you can have a couple of students collaborating on a Google form too.
Yeah. And
so we've got collaboration, creativity, technology, and whatever your content area is.
There's many other goodies like get pre-filled link, script editor, and add-ons that will blow your mind. But we'll just confuse things right now. So right here, then in the back. So the way it works inside of Google Forms is that if you're typing in a question, my understanding is that only one person can type in that section at a time, but you can have multiple people adding pictures, titling sections, titling different sections at once, just not titling the same section at the same time. Same thing inside of Google Sheets. You can't be typing in the same cell
Right.
at the same time.
And when Bill and I were collaborating, he said, you build the sections, I'll do the linking the sections to each other, and then you put the images in. And then I said, okay, and then you do the images for the SoCal stuff. And so, yeah, that's a good idea, right?
Yeah. All right. So I saw a question in the back.
It wasn't, the question was, where was the storyboard made? That was made in a Google presentation slide, a single slide. But you could do it, if you want to make your own storyboard copy, you know, to force copies for the students, you could do it in Google Docs if you prefer, or you could do it in Google Drawings, or you could do it in Google Presentation, whatever works.
Yeah. And if you're not sure if you're watching somebody inside of a Google app, top left corner.
Or you could just copy the one that I made.
Yeah. That's how you know that that slides.
Or if you don't like the one I made, you can just tweak it first and then force the copy of your copy.
I like that. Mm-hmm. I saw another hand up front. Someone?
Yes, question?
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I never have students send me anything by email. A couple of different options, and I would probably say the best choice is to make one Google form, like I did for you guys, and have them copy and paste the link with their name or their title. Like you might want to add a section for, what's the title of your Edventure form? What is your name? And then copy and paste the link into the Google form. And then, Bill, could you show them how to make a spreadsheet to link to the, wait, did we do that already? And then share the spreadsheet? And then what I do is I also share the link to the spreadsheet so the students can all see each other's Google Forms, and then they can fill out each other's Google Forms, their own little adventures, which is cool, because then the students who've created these get super excited because the other kids are filling out their Google Forms. So somebody has seen their work. So it's that whole concept of the authentic audience.
Yeah, so if you want to edit the form, if you're in View Form, you click on the little pencil, mouse over, says Edit this form, then we'll go to Responses, and they can either go this way, or you click on the spreadsheet.
So there's that little green thumbnail for creating the spreadsheet right over here, and then I just make that, I share that spreadsheet with anyone with a link, and then put that one. And the other option is, if you don't want to make another Google form, you can always have them write or copy and paste the link, have them copy and paste the link to their Edventure, and put it in a question that you pose in Google Classroom. So in Google Classroom, it doesn't always have to be assignments. You can just say, you know, like a discussion question, and have them comment and post it in the comment section of an announcement that you make. I've done it that way before too.
All right, so let's put a nice little bow on this. I'm going to share this. Remember when I forgot to do that earlier? That was so embarrassing. And what I've already done is anyone with a link can view
the spreadsheet with your answers. So somebody is going to see what you made today.
And then I will Command C.
Which sometimes with students helps them to put a little more effort into it if they think that somebody else is going to see it, right? Besides just the teacher.
Go to this, and then I will just Option drag to make a new copy.
Are your interactive forms.
Get rid of that and make it like big and Command K.
You can't miss it. It's on our last
By the way,
slide.
Command K will link, because link ends in K, and then I just pasted and apply. So if you click on that,
I love hyperlinks.
make that centered. That's not a beautiful slide, but these are your interactive forms that you've just made in this session. We have a prize, because what would learning be without giving people prizes for their learning?
Looks like we have 5 people who did it.
We do.
When you added the
We'll
section.
take a look later. So if you would like, Philip and Emily, we have 2 prizes for you. Okay. Reflector 2. Ooh. If you don't know Reflector, it turns your laptop into an AirPlay receiving device. So any iOS device, so iPhone, iPads, can AirPlay to your laptop, right?
Ooh.
And you can record, and you can have like 20, well, if your infrastructure can handle it, you can have like 20 iPads mirroring on your screen, and then your screen's connected via HDMI, and suddenly you have 20 iPads on. So Philip...
And Bill, we have a couple of questions here. Somebody said, once again, how do we get to the forum to turn in their work? And then also maybe how to get the link, to get the share link for the Google form as well that they just created. So just to copy and paste that link into the Google form.
So many exclamation points.
So there's one link to fill out the form.
And then here are the results that you share.
That's the link to see the answers, okay? And then I would do the same thing for the students when the students create their own Google Forms.
So on the very last slide, if you
slide.
refresh the presentation,
Yeah, you might have to refresh.
it should show the new slide for you. If you have questions, feel free to stick around. We'll talk for a couple minutes for you. You can also just tweet us. You can email us.
Yes.
All of that kind of stuff.
And our usernames and all that good stuff is on the slide. So feel free, if you're still trying to figure this out and you have a question, feel free to email us. We would be happy to help.
And Philip and Emily, come on up for your reflector.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, guys.